Hello everyone, this is Fadi. Welcome back to a continuation of this video series on Mecca, a search for a place. Today we will continue with our attempt basically to debunk some of the Islamic attempt to use historical evidence or geographical evidence to point to the location of Mecca, when in fact in the last video we proved that some of these quotations that they are using points to a Mecca that is too far north or too far east, meaning too far from its current location to the north or too far to the east from its current location. Today we're going to prove that yet another attempt that is being used will prove that it is still too far from its current location. With that in mind, let's turn our attention to Dr. J. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, this is probably the best reference that I've come across, the best argument that I've come across that the Muslims have forwarded. And Ian D. Morris and Dan Gibson are the ones that I use to now to confront the notion that there was a city called Mecca prior to the 7th century. Mm-hmm. And what they're looking at is Ptolemy's Macoraba. I remember hearing about this, excuse me, when I was studying under Gerald Hotting. He talked about this, and of course, Patricia Crone referred to this, and she said, no, this cannot be, for one very reason. But let's look at it, and let's look at a map again. So when we look at a map, we look at what Ptolemy was saying in the 2nd century AD. Claudius Ptolemy was a Greek writer, a geographer. He was from Alexandria in what is today Egypt. And he wrote the famous geographical tome called The Guide to Geography. There he designated many cities within Arabia. Now, he did not ever put a map together. This is not his map that we're looking at. All right? It's always been attributed to Ptolemy, and everybody that, in fact, I'm going to get people to say, have you looked at Ptolemy's map? Have you looked at Ptolemy's map? Look at Ptolemy's map, and you will see that there is a reference to Macoraba. So whose map is this? Well, this map is from Leonhard Holle in 1482. 15th century, he made this map. And he made this map to what he thought Ptolemy was talking about. Because all that Ptolemy did, they didn't use maps back then. They just wrote places and described them. And they would say so many distance from this place to that place, or from there's a mountain here, there's a river there. So you talk about the rivers, you talk about the mountains, these geographical locations, but he never actually went and walked in these areas. He never really went to these areas, and that was his undoing. Much like David King never walked to his areas or went to the mosque. That was his undoing. So did Ptolemy's undoing. We're going to find that, because Ian D. Morris says that's a great looking map, and what's on that map is this place here, Macoraba. Take a look at Macoraba. Can you see it circled there?
Right.
All right. That, according to all the Muslims, that must be Mecca. And
it's too far.
Oh, you'd see a problem right there, huh? Okay. Yeah, it's too far because where? Too far from what?
I mean, Mecca should be a lot closer to the
well, there's Yathrib. Do you see where Yathrib is, which is Medina?
But Mecca usually is...
There's Mecca right there.
Is exactly. And you have Jeddah and you have Taif. They're all like almost in one line.
Okay, so you got it. You can see right away from you who have grown up there that is. Now, is there a place called Macoraba there today when you grew up?
Well, not by that name.
What was there when you were growing up?
Well, I mean, I've never made it this far. When I would go to the Medina, there is a highway, but I did not go to that area. I've been south. I've been all the way to flying to Riyadh and to the.
Why didn't you go over there, and why didn't you find anything there?
I mean, there is usually they will build roads if there is something really interesting in there, or if there's town.
If that was Mecca, that would be a pretty big place, don't you think?
Oh, if it was Mecca, of course we would have been there.
There's nothing there today for one very good reason. It's barren. And that suggests that there's something wrong with this map, right? And Ian D. Morris said, listen, first of all, it's south, you're right, as you notice, it's southeast of Yathrib, and it's to the east of Mecca, so that cannot be Mecca. And is Macoraba the same word as Mecca?
Not at all. Not at all. And it seemed like it's across from the mountainous region, which is also geographically not true.
Yes, off, way down. Yeah. Remember, Mecca today is way down off the plateau. It's down off and it's down about 1,000 meters off. Patricia Corona made that point very clear in the 1980s. But let's go, and we see a number of problems. So here's what Ian D. Morris, and this is also with Gibson. Why do people think Macoraba is a reference to Mecca? Well, this is the reason. Gibson matched the towns and the cities with the rivers. So he went and did this map here. looking at Macoraba, and he tried to look at what Ptolemy said, and then he matched the cities with Ptolemy's descriptions, trying to keep Macoraba right to the east of Mecca, as the Muslims claim today, and as the map from 1482 claim today, Holy's map. Mm-hmm. Do you see a difficulty with that? What do you see down here?
Well, I mean, you have at least other names and other locations.
But look where they are.
Yeah.
Those cities are in the sea.
So
they wouldn't live very long, would they, if they were in the sea?
Islands, yeah.
So if you're going to follow Ptolemy and you're going to follow Holy's map, you're going to have to place all those cities right there in the Arabian Sea, which is not very healthy for the inhabitants. So Gibson realized that what Holy was doing, he was not paying attention to the fact that Ptolemy did not understand that there is an enormous desert in between. Ptolemy didn't realize this, nor did Holy realize this. You've got to take quarter. You've got to take this empty quarter, as you call it, the empty quarter.
Arab al-Khali, yeah.
Because almost all the habitations are either in the south or they're in the north, right?
Right.
That's where all the civilizations are. We're finding this out. There's an enormous amount of kings after king after king from the 4th century, from the 10th century BC. We're going to be doing that in our next time we're going to get together. We're going to look at all the kings and all the empires that are up here, and then we're going to look at all the kings and all the empires that are down here, but nothing in between. No empires, no kings at all. We have no reference to any kings or empire. This is the empty quarter. There's along this coast, up there in the north, in Arabia Petraea, and along this coast, you'll find lots of civilizations. And they go right back to the 10th century BC. Reference after reference after king, date after date, city after city, city after city. Nothing whatsoever from the west coast of Arabia. It's the empty quarter. With that in mind, Dan Gibson then looked at the geographical locations, he looked at the mountains, and he looked at the rivers that Ptolemy was talking about in the 2nd century. And he says, and then he put all the places together, and now they all fit on land. You notice? But where are they? They're all right down further south, and there is Macoraba right there. When you put that in, Macoraba is now circled in red. Mecca is way up here. You can see it. I'm pointing to it right there. There's Mecca. That's Macoraba. And Macoraba today is called Al-Mahabisha, which is in Yemen. This is not in Arabia at all. It's in a completely different country, and it is in the what used to be called the Hadramaut area. All the cities in the Hadramaut area, because that's where the civilization was, that is where the vegetation was, that is where the water is. There's a huge dam that actually is well known from the 2nd, 3rd century BC. All this is historical. The history all takes place down here, but not there. So Macoraba could not have been Mecca at all. It was not that, and for that reason, we then have to put it all together. So the next time we get together, we're going to look at this. We're going to actually say, well, then what do we now know? And that's what I want to do now. I want to take all this material that we have now unpacked in these episodes, one after another, and I want to show you what we now know. Because everybody's going, well, then how did it happen, Al-Fadi? How did it happen, Jay? Come help us here. We need to do that next.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hopefully everyone has been enjoying these additional evidence that are being shared. I mean, some of it is new here on our channel. Hopefully you would find it helpful, at least in making your case against the standard Islamic narrative in terms of the possible origin of Mecca and its location. And obviously, if you're a Muslim watching this, again, my appeal to you is do not rely on your emotions to refute this. Rely on facts, because that's what we're presenting to you. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is Al-Fadi. God bless you. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, CIRA International, and click on the bell so that you receive notifications whenever we publish a new video or go live. I would also like to appeal to you to consider becoming a Patreon patron by clicking the link right below. By doing so, you can give towards the production of these videos. There are also other options for you where you can give to our channel. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.